Hi, I'm Randy Spurlock. I am the securement trainer with Combined Transport, and today we're going to be doing the basic regulatory requirements for steel coils or metal coils as they are known in the regulations. So the first configuration that we're going to address is eyes vertical, and commonly known as eyes crosswise. So this coil is generally lighter and it sits on its end, and so when we tie it down, we're only going to use straps. So I'm just going to get started and I'm going to work my way through it. This can be a palletized, it can be on a pallet. If it's on a pallet, the pallet has to be substantial enough to support the coil, and it has to be attached to that pallet. It can't be freestanding on it. So just going to start and get situated on these. I'm going to throw one from each diagonal, and I'm going to go over to the other side and I'm going to throw one straight across. So what happens is you have an X formed at the top and you have one straight across on the coil itself. And it's important that you have those in the center of the coil so you don't have a bias from one side of the eye to the other. So part of this video exercise is to explain the nuances or the peculiarities of Combined Transport's glass trailers. They are unique in the industry as they're not regular flatbeds. They don't have a rub rail that has a spacing in it, and the tie downs are not spaced at 2-foot centers like most trailers, so they don't have guides for your straps. So when you have your strap at an angle to your winch, you have to have something to divert that angle down, and that thing is your hand, your own strength. So I'm going to get this set up. And simply going to pull the excess through. Up there. So now when I'm ready to tie this down, I have to physically hold this over while I'm tying it down. If I don't do that, this strap walks over and it either covers up my tensioning hole for my bar, or it the opposite way, it covers up the latch and stops me from being able to tighten this fully. So that's why we do that, and by doing this I can go ahead and tighten this up now, and I'm not in danger of blocking myself off. I would do the same thing with this one right here. In the opposite direction. Now this angle's coming in here. I need to keep it off this latch, because if that latch is covered up by a strap, it's either going to lock it down to where it won't stay tight or get any tighter, or it's going to keep me from getting in there and getting that latch off. So I'm going to hold it over here just like I did on the other one as long as I can, and then at some point where I won't be able to, but that's enough. But that's key on these trailers whenever you have a directional pull on these straps, that you keep it centered as you can on the spindle of that winch. So I'm going to simply throw this over. Now, anytime you haul a coil like this, you're going to need to use 4-inch plastic edge protection underneath your straps on the edge of your coils. So once again, this demonstration is discussing how to tie down coils on combined transports, glass trailers. So we're back on the passenger side now, and we're going to tie in this last 4-inch strap. These, I am going to do something with the excess that I couldn't do on the other side, and that's to pinch it in between the strap and the trailer so it doesn't go anywhere in transit. On the other side, where I did not address this loose material, that was for a reason. That reason being that if I put this material on the other side when it was angled, that adds a lubrication to between the strap and the trailer and would allow it to slide more freely along the edge of the trailer. When I'm doing this direct pull, I don't need to address that. So now the only thing that I would have to do would be to double check my work, make sure that my X was crossed in the middle just fine, tighten these straps down, and then address forward restriction from forward motion. So the regulations use some particular verbiage, chalking, blocking, bracing, or another securement device. In this case, we're going to use another securement device. All 3 coils are required per regulation to be restricted from forward motion. A lot of people don't practice this, but it is in the regulations on every coil, regardless of how much tie downs you put on a coil. That regulatory requirement is still present. So I'm going to use a 2-inch strap in this case, and I'm going to go from pulling backwards to up over the lip of the coil, and just go ahead and demonstrate that for you. Okay, so I threw this 2-inch strap up and over the upper lip of this coil, and this is strictly a device to restrict forward motion to satisfy the regulatory requirement in this. So remember, it's chalking, blocking, bracing, or another securement device. In this case, I'm going to use another securement device. It's just going to be a 2-inch strap. And remember that you cannot use this as a part of your aggregate working load limit. This is not a securement device. It is simply a device to restrict forward motion. So at this point, I would just double check my work, make sure that everything was satisfactory, and then I would carry on with my load.